Buffer for a second. Alright, so looks like we are in here. We'll give it just a minute to load and refresh. Good morning. If you are joining us from LinkedIn, we are here today with Rachel Sanders and Liz Hunter. And we're just letting this load and go live on LinkedIn. So we'll give it just a second and we'll be off. Okay. All right, we are good. So thank you all for attending today. So we have two special guests if you're just now joining us on LinkedIn. We have Rachel Sanders and Liz Hunter. I'm going to turn it over to them just to kind of introduce themselves, tell a little bit about them, what their role here is at Carolina Handling, and then we'll dive into the discussion about workforce development.
Yes, so I'm Liz Hunter. I am the Learning and Development Manager at Carolina Handling, and I have been here about 10 years. Started off as a recruiter, and then 5 years ago moved into the role that I'm in now.
And I am Rachel Sanders. My role is a Learning and Development Specialist, so I work really closely with my manager, Liz Hunter. I've been at Carolina Handling for about 2.5 years. I started in this role as well, and my background before that was in education.
Awesome. So thank you guys for being here and for talking to us about this topic. I think it's really important for people who are looking for a career, or maybe they're already in their career, to kind of see, what opportunities we have here at Carolina Handling, and especially for growth as well. So I think where I would like to start is that development piece of it. And I'd just like you guys to touch on how you've developed your career over time and what that's looked like so people can get a general idea.
Sure. So like Rachel, I also started my career in education. I was actually an elementary school teacher for about 10 and a half, 11 years. So I taught second and third grade, and then decided that I think I needed a little bit something different in life. Wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, so put a lot of time and thought and effort into what makes me happy, what skills and qualities did I feel like I possessed that could translate and transfer somewhere else. So did some soul searching and decided to become a recruiter. Joined a staffing agency and worked with them for about a year. And then my husband got relocated to Charlotte. So then I found myself looking for a job here. And I actually took an interview at Carolina Handling because it was literally in Charlotte. And I thought, well, I'll just get in the same city as my husband. And started to interview here at Carolina Handling and fell in love with the culture, the environment, the people, and now this is where I've been for 10 years. So I've really been able to take those skills and qualities from my education background and put them into use recruiting. And then 5 years ago when this L&D manager role became available, I actually recruited on it and talked to candidates. And then one day I decided, you know what? I think I want this job. And so I ended up throwing my name in for the hat and the ring, whatever for it, and said, you know what, let me interview. And here I am 5 years later doing this job. So it's been a wild ride, but I'm now kind of gone full circle and back to teaching, which is what I really love and really enjoy. So it's been fun.
And again, similar to Liz, I was a teacher prior to this. I taught for 3 years before I got my job here at Carolina Handling. My first year teaching was through COVID, so got to start out physically in the classroom, and then once COVID hit, things completely changed, and I got to transition all of my teachings onto a remote setting. So there was a lot to learn my first year. It got to the point after about 3 years where I wanted to continue growing my career, but I didn't want to go into administration, which is kind of, the next step in education. So instead, I just started applying for all types of instructional development or curriculum jobs, learning and development. Finally, a family friend reached out to me because he was actually looking at Carolina Handling's career page and trying to work here because he'd heard such great things. But he found the Learning and Development Specialist role that was recently posted as Liz's team was growing. And he was like, I think you'd be a great fit for this. So I applied, and now I get to do all the same things that I loved from teaching, helping others, supporting others, and creating resources for their growth and development. And honestly, I couldn't be happier. So
Absolutely. So full circle too, you guys are helping create these things for people to actually develop themselves once they get here in Carolina Handling. And that's how that teaching role can help play into it. And that's really awesome that Carolina Handling has this to offer, because I feel like a lot of companies, people want to grow, but they don't necessarily know how to. And you have to kind of read the audience and see, materials that are needed, that sort of thing. And that's how crucial your job is here. So I think I want to touch on opportunities that Carolina Handling has to develop skills here, both technical and professional.
Sure. So I think probably the easiest way to look at it is there's three big buckets of development that we have here. There's some leadership training that we have, there's some soft skill training, and then there's also some technical skill training. So with the leadership training, that's something that we've developed a lot of it in-house. So we focus a lot on Maxwell's 5 levels of leadership and how you grow in your leadership levels with those around you. So we've put together a full 2.5-year development program that is a pretty structured program where you come in, there's classroom, there's self-paced, there's a little network or cohort of individuals that you kind of move through these different levels with. We've branded it and we call it LIFT, which stands for Leading Individuals for Tomorrow. And we have 3 different levels of that. So the content's different. Rachel's helped to develop a lot of the lift off content, which is kind of our introduction into leadership. And then I've done a lot with Lift Level 1 and Lift Level 2. But so far we've had close to 300 of our associates that have gone through the program or kind of currently enrolled in the program. And it's been really fun to watch them take these skills and these qualities and go back into to their teams and teach others and work with others. And then even the self-reflection piece that people have had, just realizing where they're best suited and where they are strong and where they have some opportunities for themselves. But do you want to take soft skills since that's been your baby?
Yeah. So with the soft skills portion of what we offer for development, that's going to be more of your self-paced and kind of self-led development. It does tie into the LIFT program that Liz was talking about. We weave it into the introductory course of LIFT. But basically with the soft skills page, we've built resources that any associate can go into and choose from 3 main buckets: personal, social, and methodical skills. And it's sort of like an a la carte menu, pretty much, of just any topics they can go in and explore and kind of determine for themselves which one they think they would benefit from the most. And with each topic, it has a self-paced learning session that you just go through and follow what's laid out for you through that guide. There's also a application piece to it, so you can actually apply that learning and actually get some practice out of it, out of your workday and your job responsibilities. So yeah, with that, we really wanted to focus on how can we provide resources for our associates, but let them kind of take the lead on using those resources.
And one thing I think you do really nicely too with Rachel is you listen to our associates, and if they say, hey, I need additional training on this or that, then she'll take it and say, okay, well, let's see how big of a need this is. And if she discovers, through that process that it is a big need for folks, then she'll go out and kind of create something. And then we partner pretty heavily with our marketing team as well to make sure that we're communicating it out so that our associates know, hey, this is available and this is something that they can take advantage of.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I love most about it too, is we always communicate to our associates, whether it's through the Lift Off program when we're introducing it to them, or on our hub posts where anyone in the organization can see it. We make it clear that the soft skills resource is always evolving and can be added to, and whatever their current needs are, we want them to communicate that with us, so that way we can prioritize building that resource for them. So.
Yeah. We've also got technical training as well. Since the large portion of our associates are technicians, we've got to make sure from a technical standpoint that they have the electrical, the hydraulic, the mechanical things that they need in order to be successful. So we have a team of subject matter experts that are technical trainers. We've got 6 of those, and then they're led by a technical training manager. And this team works really closely with our associates, our technicians, to make sure that they've got all of the technical training that they need and they've got those technical skills. And to further that, we also have a team of field trainers. So we've got about 12 technicians that act as mentors to especially new hires that are spread out throughout our footprint. So when that new hire starts as a technician, there's a lot to learn to the job of our technicians. It's not just the turning a wrench and fixing a forklift. It's how to manage your day, how to talk to customers, and our team of field trainers is really able to partner with those new associates and work with them one-on-one to get them the skills that they need to get up to speed quicker, so that they can start supporting our customers in a timely manner.
I think all those, I mean, you've got three different things, you've got the formal classroom setting of like here, lift that program to really develop those skills. And I've personally been in that program as well and have seen the benefits from that. And then also you've got the soft skills for people to be able to go and do more self-paced. But then I think that technical training is such a huge piece for our customers to know about, that their technicians that are going into these customer sites are ready to work on that equipment, and being able to provide that level of customer service. But with all these, it takes that owning your development too. And I think that's important for our audience to know, is that you have to own your development. So I think I'd like to touch on that just a little bit as well.
Yeah, so with owning your development, it's just that, right? You've got to take the initiative for it. You've got to have the desire for it. I say a lot of times, like, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. And so, we provide the tools and the resources that are needed, but we really, really stress to our associates that it's on you, right? You've got to take the initiative. You've got to work with your manager. You've got to initiate those conversations. You've got to lay it out. Hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is why I want this. This is the direction that I want my career to go. And then really partnering with their managers, and then utilizing the tools and the resources that we've put together so that they can take advantage of it to grow themselves. It's also a process that requires some vulnerability and some reflection, and sometimes you've got to take a deep look in the mirror and think, oh gosh, where am I falling short, right? And so it does require a lot of that. So, if you're somebody that wants to come in and say, yes, I am aware of my shortcomings, I'm aware of the areas where I need to work, and I'm willing to put in the work, then that process goes really well for folks.
Mm-hmm. And I do think our culture makes it easier to be vulnerable and want to learn more. Because, our people, we want to do our customer right. Like, we want to make them happy and be a good representation of our company. And so I think, especially for our guys in the field, like, they want to look good, they want to serve the customer right. So they do take their training seriously, and they recognize the value and I guess the sacrifice too of taking them out of the field to attend these trainings.
Yes. Absolutely. And I think too, just how is that going to impact the customers if we think about that? Like, we're talking about workforce development, and I've put a link to the careers page here in the comments. So that way, if you're watching this and you're like, hey, this is for me, I want to develop myself, you can go check out our careers page. But also, I know we have a ton of customers on our LinkedIn. So I just want to touch on how our workforce development here at Carolina Handling, how does that impact our customers directly?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's something I think sometimes that's hard to measure, right? How does that have that impact on the customer? But we fully believe that if you are the best version of yourself, right? A lot of these skills, these soft skills, these aren't things that are just going to make you better at Carolina Handling. It makes you a better husband, wife, brother, sister, mom, dad, friend. So these skills are things that are life skills that are going to make you the best version of yourself. And we believe that if you show up as the best version of yourself, then that's going to translate into what you do and how you carry yourself and the interactions that you have with those around you, whether it's an internal customer or an external customer. And it really helps to build, I think, that confidence as well. Mm-hmm. Hey, I know what I'm doing. I know how to have better conversations. I know how to have more meaningful dialogue with others. And I think that is something that is some of that impact that those customers can have.
And naturally, I think that's just going to feed into our organization's reputation in being a very serving company. And, that's just going to demonstrate the honesty and the drive that our technicians especially have to serve our customers. Like, they're not just trying to check a box or sell a part or sell an upgrade. Like they honestly do want to find the best solution for the customer. And yeah, I think that just feeds into our reputation.
Yeah.
So
And then what I've noticed too is with some of these soft skills that, and even with the LIFT program, the interactions with, and I say customers, but it can also be partners. You know, like it's anybody that they go and interact with that's connected to Carolina Handling, whether it's an organization that we're donating a pallet jack to or something like that. What soft skills do we offer that teach our technicians and our associates how to interact with those customers? What kind of soft skills are we looking at?
well, we do have the technician. What was the soft skills resource you developed for the
Oh, it's like
challenge?
a customer interaction
Yeah.
guide. Yeah.
And it pretty much walks through
Mhm.
step by step how to handle an interaction, best practices,
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, it's like a list of tips and tricks for this is how you can best interact with the customer. This is, how to approach somebody, how to make sure you're handling yourself. If there's conflict, right? Because not all the times, right, does everybody get along with things? What are some ways that you need to recognize that and even recognize, hey, this is the type of situation that I may be walking into, and this is more about myself, and how do I need to maybe adapt and approach my style and my interaction with them?
Mhm. And a lot of these topics too are covered in our soft skills resource. They're covered in LIFT, spanning from, having those difficult conversations that Liz just mentioned to delegating to, the list goes on. Best customer service practices. So we really try, again, to take everything into consideration. What resource can we provide to best equip them for those situations and to provide the best service? But it's also an ever-growing list too. So
Absolutely.
Soft skills, something you can always work on.
Right.
yeah.
And then I know we didn't talk about this before, but I also would just like to touch on somebody who's coming in, maybe they're interested in a career at Carolina Handling. Maybe they, have some technical skills, but they don't know everything. How does our training team help support them when they get here at Carolina Handling?
Do you want to take onboarding?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we receive, in terms of field service, because I know that's where a lot of the technical skills we rely on. But we receive a lot of technicians who have never worked on forklifts, conveyor, or things like that before in their lives. They've come from a car background or something similar of that nature. Some people have only fixed a bicycle before.
Yeah.
But with our training programs, so once you start during onboarding, we have the first 3 days are spent with a field trainer that Liz had mentioned earlier. So there you're just kind of going through the basics, and some of that is soft skills as well, like managing your time and things like that. But after those first 3 days of onboarding, you will spend your first 90, 180 days in contact training with that field trainer, training with technical trainers on classes that are more specific to the equipment that you'll be working with. So, you come into this, you don't come in blind, you're not fed to the wolves or anything like that. We have a structured plan throughout your first 180 days to get you to where you need to be. So, anything else to add to that?
Yeah, and then the only other thing I would add is that structured training plan isn't something just for technicians. We also have a pretty structured training plan for anybody that comes in a sales capacity, if they come in an internal support or a leadership role as well. There's a full 90-day, pretty detailed training plan that's laid out, where a lot of that training too is really spent on learning the business, learning about those that are here at Carolina Handling that are going to be part of that network for you. Who are the people that you can call on, because we offer so much, and it would be way too much to have that expectation that, hey, you're going to come in and you're going to become this product knowledge expert on fixing all of the equipment or selling all of the equipment or understanding all of the processes. But really you're focused that first 90 days on developing that network of who can help you, who do you need to partner with so that you can truly understand our business, to then be able to know, okay, I've got questions, I need to go talk to this person to get some answers. And kind of the overwhelming feedback I think that we hear from folks when they start here is, oh my gosh, people are so nice. They're so willing to help. And man, when is the other shoe gonna drop? And I think that it goes back, Rachel's mentioned it several times, it is the culture, the people here, right? They want you to be successful, they understand that people are learning, and so they know that that's part of the culture here, and so they just say, hey, come here, let me show you. Let me sit down with you and let's walk through this together and call me when you have more questions.
Yeah,
So
it's very comforting as a new associate that you don't have to know everything. You just need to know someone who
right.
does.
Someone who does, and call them.
I love that. It really is like setting the foundation, honestly, for your development here at Carolina Handling is taking that time to, you know, learn and invest in the people around you, knowing that, and then taking it outward and then continuing your growth as you're here. So I think what I want to do is just, if someone was watching this and they might be considering a career with Carolina Handling, what would you guys say? Why should they consider a career at Carolina Handling?
Why? So when I was recruiting, I got asked that question a lot. Why do you enjoy working there? And it always sounds so cliche to say, like, it's the people, but it really truly is the people here. I would say it's not something that you can't really describe it. You kind of have to feel it. We're also super competitive, so we don't like to lose. We like to win. And so, but with that competitiveness, I think comes, that drive to be a self-starter, right? To take things and to own them and to be accountable. So I would say that if you are that person who likes a competitive environment, likes a friendly environment, likes an environment that's also going to give back to the community, that's something else that we do a lot of here, then this is the right place for you. But if you are looking to just kind of maintain status quo and not really grow yourself, kind of clock in, clock out, then this may not be the opportunity, and that's okay. But I mean, I think that somebody that wants to come here wants to be willing to learn, be willing to grow themselves, be willing to have fun doing it, and be willing to have a little competition, friendly competition along the way. So
I think you pretty much wrapped it all up nicely. But just to reemphasize the point where if you want to work here, you should definitely be someone who is ready to have people around you investing in your development and have you investing in your development. Because for me, I've only been here 2.5 years, so like my onboarding experience is still pretty fresh, I feel. But it was definitely a culture shock to see how many people care about what next step I want to take and seeing them want to support me to get to that next step. So it's a very supportive community. So
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you guys for being here, for talking to us about workforce development. If you're watching, we have dropped a couple of links in the chat if you want to check out our website, the LinkedIn page, career site, all the things you can click on. Also, if you want to, you can connect with Rachel and Liz both on LinkedIn if you have any specific questions as well. So I just want to turn it back over to you guys. If you guys want to just kind of wrap up, say your names again, restate your title, and we will wrap up here.
yeah. So again, I'm Liz Hunter. I'm the Learning and Development Manager here.
and I'm Rachel Sanders, and I am our Learning and Development Specialist.
Awesome. Thank you guys, and have a great day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.